Okay, well, good Friday morning, Jet fans. It is November 8th, 2019, 10 a.m. Again, I know my jet clock in the back is reading 11 a.m. I got to get up there. Not even up there, just got to turn around and basically bring it back 1 hour. Um, but it is week 10 in the NFL. Today, we're going to preview our JETS, Jets facing the cross stadium, cross town New York team, the Giants, coming up on Friday. I have to say, back when the schedule was released, I looked at this game and I said this could really be um, a very good competitive game. But it still can be a very competitive game. It can be a very close game, but it may have some implications going, towards the rest of the season since we're at the halfway mark, and this is almost like, coming down the hill now to the finish. And before the season started, you had to figure that Washington wasn't going to be that great, and they're not. Dallas is always in the running. Philly, again, 2 years off of their championship, is always in the running. And the Giants with Daniel Jones, I didn't think would be in the running. I didn't think they'd be that good at this point, but I thought they'd be a little better than 2 wins. Um, but they are what they are. I thought the Jets would be a hell of a lot better than what we are right now, and they are not. So we have two teams that are 2-5, or 2-6, and 1-7, and they face off Sunday. But before we get to that, Week 10 started off last night and in Oakland, and the Raiders beat the Chargers 26-24. I just want to say this about the Chargers. I take nothing away from them from when Marty Schottenheimer had them, and now Lynn is their coach. Philip Rivers is a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback. I always called him the AFC's version of Tony Romo. He'll give you a hell of a regular season, but then the postseason comes and his productivity is just not where it used to be or wasn't where it was weeks earlier. I can remember the 2009 season under Rex. I believe they won the last 11 games in a row. They didn't lose a game at all at home. They had a first round bye, and we went in there and we beat them in San Diego. It just seems like in the playoffs they shut down. And last week, they go and they beat Green Bay in LA, so they don't have far to travel. They were in the chart. They played in LA last week. They played in Oakland this week. Green Bay probably had a lot of people in the crowd last week in Los Angeles, but they still held the Packers to 11 points, and then they come out and they lose to the Raiders. And give John Gruden some props. Beginning of the year, he gets rid of Khalil Mack last year, and you figure, what is this guy going to do? What is this guy, doing with his team? And he has them. I think they're 4-3 now, and has them in a running. They are relevant now in the first weekend of November. So that started off week 10. We have some nice matchups this week. We have some not so nice matchups this week. One good matchup, one premier matchup I like is the Sunday night game, and that is Cowboys hosting the Vikings. The Vikings 6-3, Cowboys 5-3. Both of these teams need a game to make a statement. Kirk Cousins has been under a lot of scrutiny after getting that big contract with Minnesota. He has a lot to prove. He has played well this year. He's also played some games where you'd say, scratch your head and say, why do you have all that money? It is what it is with Kirk Cousins. The Cowboys had a good game against the Giants, not a solid game, but a good game. They got to Daniel Jones. I think he was picked off 3 times. A lot of people are going to give props to that Black Cat, who, by the way, being a Jet fan, you have to wonder if the Black Cat is like underneath the locker room in the Jets facility over there at MetLife, with the bad luck that they have. But the Cowboys came out on top. Ezekiel Elliott had, I think, 130-plus yards from scrimmage. I don't know if it was all-purpose yards or rushing yards. But they came out and they beat the NFC East rivals they had to beat. They got to 5-3. They are maintaining their standings with the Eagles. And this is a good matchup for them. I think the Cowboys have a lot to prove winning this game. The Vikings, maybe they're both in the same boat because right now at 6-3, I'm not even sold on the Vikings. The Packers are 7-2, and the Vikings need to maintain that game with them, and the Packers losing last week. Excuse me. The Vikings have a chance now to jump up, but Cowboys are 3.5 favorites. They're at home, so they're trying to call it a pick 'em. I think the Cowboys win this game. I think they feed off the momentum of last week. Even though last week's win, they weren't greatly impressive, they still played a good game. 3 turnovers on defense. So I like the Cowboys. And it's funny, one of the players, I don't know who said it. I'm not going to quote a player, but one of them said, "Oh, we own New York." They forget 4 weeks ago the Jets' only win, their 1-7 win, was against this Cowboy team. Yes, they didn't have Amari Cooper, but it was against this team, and Zeke was held not to a minimal amount, but he was held in check for the most part. So Cowboys win. Rams and Steelers. Rams again. I had going to the top of the NFC, going deep into the playoffs. They're 5-3. They're at Pittsburgh, 4-4. Pittsburgh is an underdog by 3.5 points. So they're actually almost a touchdown underdog. The Steelers have won, I want to say, either 3 in a row or 4 in a row. They are 4-4. The Rams are 5-3. On paper, the Rams should win this game. But you never count out Mike Tomlin and his team, who I think have a good shot at winning this game and getting to 5-4, and they are back right in this race. So I'll take the Steelers plus a 3.5. I think they win outright. Colts and Dolphins. Dolphins getting 10.5. They're in the. If you're betting, man, I take the Dolphins getting 10.5. I think the Colts should win. If the Colts want to be this playoff team, they got to get to 6-3 and beat the Dolphins. We're coming off that wonderful win over our Jets. Packers and Panthers. Cam Newton is on IR for the rest of the season, so the Panthers will go with his backup the rest of the year. Packers coming off a terrible loss last week. They scored 11 points. They're back home this week. They should beat the Panthers. They're 5.5-point favorites over the Panthers. I think they win and I think they cover. Saints and Falcons. Just flip the numbers around. Saints 7-1, Falcons 1-7. Dan Quinn is probably on his way out, and you gotta wonder. A couple of years off a Super Bowl appearance. They are 13.5-point underdogs at New Orleans. I'll take the Saints, and I think the Saints win outright. I think the Saints win outright out about the 13.5, but the Saints should win handily. Browns and Bills. This is another game. This is another statement game, and it's for the Bills. The Bills have not really beaten anybody worthwhile, and I'm not taking anything away from them. Hey, they put 6 wins up out of 8 games played. They're 6-2. They are in second place in the AFC East. They are in big-time wild card running. They got to beat the Browns in Cleveland. The Browns are falling apart. If we didn't live in New York, they would probably be the topic of conversation with Mayfield and Beckham and just Mayfield. First of all, with his facial hair, not facial hair, he looks like John Candy from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with his hair and his mustache now. But they need to right that ship. They are a team that and coming from a Jet fan, they are dysfunctional. If they're not winning, they are falling apart at the seams. There are some teams that stick together and try, and you can see the Falcons do that. You could see the Cardinals are trying to do that with a young coach. The Browns, in their history, have fallen apart when things got bad. Rookie coach. You have Mayfield in his second year. OBJ going there, and don't be surprised if OBJ is on another team next year. I mean, there are rumors going on that he'll be a Patriot next year. Just great. AFC East. That's what we need. Tom Brady to OBJ now. But I think the Bills win this game. The Bills are getting 3.5 at Cleveland. I think the Bills win this game outright. I think they're going to start picking up momentum. And this is a game they need to win. If you're going to be in the race and possibly even challenge the Patriots. Now, the Patriots are 8-0. They can get to 7-2. They are within that game and a half from the Patriots. They do have that loss to the Patriots early in the season, but they will face them again. So they need to win this game to keep up and have a chance to overtake them in the AFC East. Chiefs go to Tennessee. I believe that Mariota is benched. The Tennessee Titans are getting 4.5 at home. The Chiefs should win this. I think Pat Mahomes does return this week. I think he gives them a spark more. They go to 7-3, and The Chiefs, I've liked as a favorite from the beginning of the year to really make a run through the regular season and through the playoffs. The week ends on Monday night. 49ers hosting the Seahawks. This is a great matchup. I don't think anybody in the beginning of the season thought that 49ers would be 8-0 at this point, and the Seahawks would be 7-2. This is a tremendous matchup. This could be your NFC Championship game. I mean, you have the Saints in the running, you have the Packers in the running, you have the Cowboys that could be there, you have the Rams that could be there, but Seahawks and Niners, and the Seahawks came off a game where they almost lost to the Bucks last week. Then they were down, I think, by 3 scores or 2 scores very, very early. They came back to tie it. They went downfield to kick a field goal that was missed, and then they took the coin toss. They won. They took the kickoff in overtime, and the offense came out and scored a touchdown. They wanted no part of giving the ball back. I would love to see the 49ers win this. They are favored by 6.5, which means it's almost a 2-score game that they're favored by. The touchdown. I'd love to see the 49ers win. I just love what the 49ers are doing there with Bosa and their defense and Garoppolo. Not even lighting it up, but being productive. 6.5 may be too tight to take if you're a betting person. But I like the 49ers to win this one. I think they win it really late. I mean, I'm talking on Monday night, you're looking at either a defensive stand by the 49ers or a late field goal by the 49ers to win it. So let's get to why we do this every week here at www.nyjetstories.com. That's www.nyjetstories.com. Again, we're on Facebook. NYJet Stories is our Facebook page. We're on Twitter at NYJet Stories is our Twitter handle. And on YouTube channel, we're trying to get this channel really to go out there and become popular. I'd love to hear comments and whatnot. YouTube channel is NYJet Stories. Alex Parziali can also be Googled to find it on YouTube. So the 2-7 Giants travel to the 1-7 Jets. That's the joke. The Jets are the home team. For people who don't understand that, the Jets and Giants play each other every 4 years in the regular season. They play each other every year in the preseason, and it's flip-flopped who the home team is and who the away team is. It's just like the regular season. The Jets are the home team. So if you have season tickets to the Jets, you have tickets to this game. If you go online to buy tickets, you're buying them through the Jets. It's a Jet home game. They will have the Jet colors up, the Jet Ring of Honor up, the Jet flight crew will be on the field. It'll be the Jet PA announcer. The Jets choose the home colors they want to wear. That's the way it goes. I see a lot of Giant fans being there. Now, in the beginning of the year, I said there'll be some Giant fans there. But I think right now, because of the state of the team, Jet fans put their tickets up. Now, yes, there'll be Jet fans there that want to go see Jets Giants. There'll be Giant fans there that pounced on this to go see their team. So I think it's going to be a big mix. I think there might be more Giant fans than there were Cowboy fans at the Cowboy Jet game. Maybe not more Patriot fans, but more Cowboy fans. A lot of, when you're 1-7 and you're 2-7, you try to look for, things to be interested in. As a Jet fan, my interest this year actually was to take the next step. And we did take the next step, but unfortunately it was a step backwards. But I'm still waiting for Le'Veon Bell to have his breakout game, and no disrespect to Le'Veon, it's the offensive line. I'm waiting for Sam to have his breakout game. He had a manageable game against Dallas. He had a manageable game against the Bills, even though they lost, but he hasn't really put up a game where I can sit back and say, all right, finally. And I want to get into that because I still think that Sam has some lingering effects from the mono. And I'm not making any type of excuses for him because I've seen him regress this year. And why I'm saying that is I've said this in weeks earlier in my videos while he was out, when he came out with the diagnosis. I had mono. I was sick back when I was in high school. I was a little younger than 15, a little younger than 16 years old. It was the summer before I turned 16. I turned 16 in November. I was sick. I had strep throat through April by Easter. Back and forth to school. Finally, after 3 weeks, the doctor said, let's do a blood test. It was the second week in May when I got actually pulled out of school. School nurse came, pulled me out. I was taking a big test in the school. Towards the end, I think it was a final maybe at one point in health class. And there I am sitting in an air-conditioned room, the only air-conditioned room in the school classroom, sweating, eyes, closing because I'm falling asleep. Nurse comes in, knocks on the door. They escort me out. They clear out my locker. They bring me to the nurse's office and tell me that I was diagnosed with mono. I missed the last 6 weeks of school. So I went from May through June. I missed. I did not leave the house other than going to the doctors until July 3rd. Or July 4th was probably the first time I went outside. And then July 10th was the first time I started working again. I went out and I DJ'd a party. And I still had lingering effects of the mono through the summer. The mono really didn't get out of my system until September. So you're talking April, which is the 4th month of the year, to the end of August, which is the 8th month. So you're talking 4 months, 16 weeks. I'm telling you, Sam will not be fully recovered from mono until the season's over, because he is still conditioning and training now. His body has not really gotten to 100%. I'm saying that, yes, he wasn't contagious probably when they released him to play, but I truly believe that he was not 100% with the mono out of his system. So training at 75 or 80%, his body is not kicked that lackadaisical tiredness, just beat up feeling, and it won't be to the off season. And unfortunately for us, and for Sam, and for the team, that's just what it is. You can sit back and say, I can't believe this, but it's the same thing as if, God forbid, a player blows out something in their knee or in their arms or in their clavicle or what have you, or a concussion. It's a sickness. He has to fully recover to get back to full strength. You can't work yourself through it because your body needs to get back to full strength. So I truly believe he's still under that recovery. That does not excuse him of making bad decisions. He's got to protect the ball. He's got to know when to take the sack, when to throw it away, when to throw it down at somebody's feet, when to take off and run, and when the play is dead. He's got to learn that. Again, he hasn't played a full season yet. He just completed what we would call a 16-game season combined from last year and this year. But his practice regimen this year also, he didn't practice for many weeks. So this year, I thought I'd see him take the next step. We'd have to wait till next year. And I'm not one for, let's draft a quarterback this year. We're going to have a top 5 pick. Sam, I think, is the future of this team. I'm not sure about about Adam Gase being the coach, but that's just a discussion that we'll get into next week, especially after this game. I think this is a game where Le'Veon Bell could have a breakout game. The Giant defensive line is not that great. Of course, Leonard Williams is there. And mark my words, Leonard Williams will have either a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, or a sack. That's just the way it goes, Jet fans. That's just the way it goes. He was traded last week. I think he had one quarterback pressure on Prescott. Was really a non-factor in the game. On one play, I think he was flagged on something or something negated a play that he was in on. But other than that, Leo is not a star. I liked him. I've met him. He's my girls have met him. He's a friendly person. He's a young guy. He has the ability. I just don't think. I mean, you put him on the line with other pass rushers and other. Yes, he will be in there and make plays, but he is not the guy where you have to build your offense around protecting yourself from. The Jets had 26 players named on their injury list this week. Tremaine Johnson, who's been really a bad signing. He really has not produced anything since he got the big money from us to come over as free agent, is on IR. I'm trying to think who else. Cannon is on IR. And, ironically, Darryl Roberts, who came out and called some fans fake-ass fans and loyal fans, and he only had time for loyal fans. He was on the injury report. I don't know if he's playing. I think the Jets have 4 players active for the secondary. They're on their I think Bob Wischusen said fifth or sixth linebacker on the depth chart, which is unheard of. Le'Veon Bell had a MRI on his knee. There's no structural damage, a little tenderness. He practiced. He didn't practice Wednesday. He was limited yesterday. I think he plays Sunday, even though he's probably going to marked as probable or whatever. But I think he plays. I think he gets, and I've been saying this, but I think he gets his 100 yards this week. And I think it's going to come on a bulk on one big run. I think he's going to get tear off like a 35 or 40 yard run, and then they'll have little runs after that. But I think he gets a touchdown and gets his 100 yards. Chris Herndon, who missed the first 4 games with a suspension, and then missed the next 4 due to injury. He was active last week. I don't know how many snaps he played. He should be a bigger part of this offense this week, and he could be a big safety valve to Sam. And I think Robbie has a few catches. I think Robbie gets a TD pass this week. Over on the Giants side, listen, they have Saquon you have to worry about. Daniel Jones can throw this ball. I mean, he's had a lot of problems as well, a lot of issues. But again, he's only in his 6th game, as a starter. He's 2-4. I believe, as a starter, right? They're 2-7. He's 2-5 as a starter. 2-5 as a starter. Last week he threw the ball for 3 interceptions. There's no, no way I could say, well, he's not a factor. Listen, that's like them saying Sam's not a factor. If they're on their game, they can pick you apart. Daniel Jones can't get the ball downfield. We have a very beat up secondary. Jamal Adams, came out and said that he spoke to ownership last week. He spoke to Gase and Douglas this week. They both apologized to each other, and he's time to move on. He was brought here to win a Super Bowl for this team. Now, could that be smoke and mirrors? Yes. Could he go there and demand a trade? Yes. Could Joe Douglas get a King's ransom for him? Yes. I'd love to see him win a Super Bowl here. I'd love to see anybody win a Super Bowl here. But Jamal, go out there, make some plays, sack Daniel Jones, get an INT, force fumble, make us proud. I want to see how the crowd reacts to him on Sunday and how he reacts to the crowd. Does he get cheered? Does he get booed? If he whiffs on a tackle, does he get booed? If he makes a big play, does a place erupt for him? Because as fans, we are big supporters of Jamal Adams up until 2 weeks ago. And I think everybody just came down to earth on, hey, he's just another player now, looking out for himself. And maybe it's his age. Maybe it's just his transparency, but come on, Jamal, just go out there, do your speaking between the white lines, and let's get this W. Saquon Barkley could, like I said, be an issue for us. We need to contain him. We contained most of the running backs we faced this year. We had some issues with Chubb, I believe, against Cleveland. We had some issues with Fournette with Jacksonville. Saquon could give us some problems. We have to kind of keep him in check. In my heart of hearts, I have to say, really need the Jets to win this game just to get back to some normalcy, get to 2-7. You don't have to hear Giant fans all week. But they'll be 3-7 if they win. So, I mean, really, this is for bragging rights. And I've covered this. Bragging rights against Giant fans, yes. I mean, I am a Yankee, Ranger, Jet fan. Knicks and Nets, I support both of them because I'm not really a big baseball fan. But when I'm a Ranger fan, Islanders, Devils, and Flyers are the 3 teams I root against, unless it's to help our team. And you go back and forth with Islanders, and you go back and forth with Devil fans and whatnot. And the Devils have had the most recent success with their Stanley Cups through the 90s and the 2000s. The Islanders owned this town back in the 80s with 4 in a row. And, of course, the Rangers stole just the hearts of everybody in 94 when they won. So those are my rivals. Yankees, Mets, listen, I am not that Yankee fan that talks about our history, that talks about the World Series that we won. We got knocked out of the playoffs this year in the championships round. The Mets were in the World Series in 15, so they were the closest to win a championship in this town after the Yankees won in '09. You can talk a lot about our rings or whatever but that's in the past, But we have a history. Mets don't have that big of a history, but everybody will talk trash. I think the Yankees right now are a team that's built to win. I think the Mets with Carlos Beltran, I think they have some excitement behind them now, and they could pull some games out, and maybe not this year, but next year be that contender and contend with the Yankees. Then they're not even a rivalry because they're in a different division. This it's funny. All the championships the Yankees won. All right, you go back to 96 to 2001. They were in the World Series 96, 98, 99, 2000, 2001. In 2000, we played the Mets. That's probably the most nervous I ever was watching the Yankees in the postseason because we couldn't lose to the Mets. Couldn't lose to the Mets. How can we lose to the Mets? Who wants to hear Met fans? And I'm not saying all Met fans, but, and, that's where the rivalry is. It's not during the season, whatever. Same thing with the Jets and the Giants. Play each other every 4 years. The preseason game is usually the third game of the season. Preseason this year was the first game of the preseason. It's usually a dress rehearsal. You get, Jet fans, Giant fans go back and forth. Of course, the Giants have very much owned this city. They won in '86. They won in '90. They won. They were in it in 2000. They won in '07. They won in '11. And sandwiched in between '07 and '11, Jets went to 2 AFC Championship games and couldn't pull a trigger. So they own this town. Right now, both teams are rebuilding. I think the Jets were supposed to be a few steps ahead of the Giants this year. But who wants to hear them if they win? They're fans. I'm realistic. If the Giants win, we fall to 1-8. It doesn't really make or break our season. If we win, we go to 2-7. It doesn't really make or break our season. The only thing it may do is save Adam Gase's job. But I think the Jets win this one. I pick them every week. If they win, or when they win, I should say 20-17. And I think that's with my heart, with my head, I can call this game a 14-13 game. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game at all. The repercussions of winning this game or losing this game, excuse me. Today's a 2 cup of coffee day. It's just been a long week and a long season. Yesterday, I try to listen to sports radio throughout the day, and a lot of things changed this week. The Islanders with 10 in a row, and Beltran coming to the Mets, and the Giants losing Monday night. So a lot of the talk was not of Jets Giants till it got later in the week. And yesterday, Mike Francesa came out and said something, and a lot of reporters locally are picking this up. Now, I really thought Adam Gase, if he was going to get fired midseason, would have got fired Monday morning. That wasn't the case. Chris Johnson was actually at the practice field, I believe, on Wednesday. Still no news, so nothing happened. Mike Francesa said yesterday, after a call that said about losing if the Jets lose, and he said something to the effect of, if the Jets lose, Adam Gase may not be here the rest of the season. He can be gone by the end of this week. Probably, now he didn't say as early as Monday, but if they lose Sunday, probably as early as Monday. He also stated that Adam Gase is a long shot to be coaching here next season. Does he know something? I don't know. Does he have his ear to, the news? Possibly. There's been a lot of rumblings where GMs and coaches, executives and other teams have been quoted as sources of saying that Adam Gase is in over his head. He doesn't know what he's doing on the field. So that's one thing. Rich Cimini also wrote something about Adam Gase not being here next season. And I won't go into detail because I don't know exactly what he said, but that was the same theory. Manish Mehta from the Daily News, who, listen, I'm not really a fan of him. I'm not really a fan of him as Cimini. These two guys covered a team, which is my dream job, to cover this team, or if not, work for the team. And not that you could spin everything positive, but everything is negative with them. Almost like they enjoy the negativity more than the positivity. They'd have a 6-page write-up on a loss, but a 6-line write-up on a Super Bowl championship. But he's also killing Gase. But Manish actually was a pro Gase guy probably about 10 weeks ago, or even 15 weeks ago, or even in the offseason. And he's killing Gase. As a fan, yes, I want stability. But stability shouldn't be negativity and lack of productivity. They need to get a coach that can lead this team. Can he lead this team? I don't know. Bob Wischusen, who I love doing a play-by-play. I listen to him when he runs shows. He does a Stephen A. Smith show once a week or every so often now. He's on the Michael Kay show. He came out and he defended Adam Gase and about the injuries and about the lack of talent, stating, if a team has $100 million in cap space, it just means you don't have a lot of talent on your team and whatnot. My question to him is, yes, Adam Gase took over a team that was depleted of talent, that was young, that got injury ridden. I mean, oh my God, so many injuries. But if he had this team at full strength, what would he do with it? And if he had the talent of the Patriots, if they took Bill Belichick out of New England, put Adam Gase in there, or took Sean Payton out of New Orleans, put Adam Gase there, could he take those teams and be as successful as they have been this year? That's my question. If you say no, then he's not the coach to coach any team because they are filled with talent. I won't give excuses that we have no talent, but the coach is not using what he has correctly either, I don't believe. That offensive line is shot, and that's something that Joe Douglas, which Bob Wischusen did mention, needs to use a lot of his draft capital to get in some guards here. And that was part of the Jamal Adams trade inquiry, was getting some linemen from the Cowboys. So I picked the Jets to win over the Giants. I'm hoping it's a good game. I'm hoping that, it should be nice weather. But that's where we are now. Check us out, www.nyjetstories.com. As always, we're on Facebook, NYJet Stories. Twitter handle again, at NYJet Stories. And on this YouTube channel, Alex Parziale, NYJet Stories. Before we go, I'd like to wish anyone who celebrates a happy Veterans Day. If you're still with us, thank you for your services. Thank you for making these sacrifices to go and protect our borders and protect our nation. My two grandfathers and uncles, great uncles, were in World War II. They served overseas. Some served here in the United States. My one grandfather was in Europe with his brothers. My other grandfather was stateside at a hospital, working in a hospital. My grandfathers on my wife's side were both in the service. Very patriotic. They loved the service. So thank you. My brother-in-law who served in the Navy, my cousin who served in the Army, my friends that I worked with who were Air Force and Army and Marines, all that are still serving, I thank you for your service. I thank you for your commitment. It is something I can never do. It is something that many of us cannot do. You put yourself in front of not only your family, but in front of every other family in this nation, and I thank you for that. And my wife's grandfather, Jack, Poppy Jack, whenever he was with another veteran, would give him a salute. So this is for you veterans out there. Thank you. We appreciate everything you do. God bless you. No matter what party you're a part of, Democratic, Republican, Independent, whatever it is, we're all one nation, as I believe. And thank you for your continued support. And thank you for the sacrifices you made back during your time in the service. Have a great weekend. We'll be back Monday on Veterans Day again. And enjoy yourselves, and let's go Jets. Let's make some production. Let's win this game, and let's produce something. Thank you.